So, the thing with zombie movies is that the characters always have to be on the move, and the last thing they need to be is stationary. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. So last week, Train to Busan Peninsula was released as a Shudder exclusive. Now, I already reviewed that film when it hit VOD last year, as well as the original Train to Busan, but I haven't previously seen or reviewed the animated prequel to those films, Seoul Station. So today, we're going to be discussing that. Before we begin, let me know in the comments what your thoughts on Seoul Station were if you saw it or were planning on seeing it, and make sure to hit that thumbs up button if you like these reviews, as it helps me out immensely by getting my channel out there. And if you're new here, I hope you consider hitting that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with reviews of new releases, older films, hidden gems, and so much more on a near daily basis. But let's not waste any more time and let's talk about Seoul Station. Against the backdrop of a sudden zombie outbreak, three lucky survivors, which are the teenage runaway Hae-soon, her layabout boyfriend Ki-woong, and her desperate father Sok-yu, fight tooth and nail to reunite. But this is only the first night of the unforeseen epidemic, and all hope seems lost. Like the other two films, this is written and directed by Yeon Sang-ho, who actually started off with directing animated films, so he's well within his comfort zone here, with the combination of animation as well as being set in the same universe as what's now one of the most beloved zombie movies of all time. This was initially released in South Korea only a month after the first film in 2016, though it didn't hit the US until well into 2017, and even then, this was before Train to Busan really obtained its massive following when it hit streaming services in the US. So this isn't as widely seen as the first film, at least to my knowledge. Now, similar to Peninsula, while this is in the same universe as Train to Busan, and this is the exact same zombie outbreak, you technically don't need to have an understanding of the first film in order to appreciate this. None of the original characters appear, nor does it tie directly into events from the first film outside of just being the same outbreak. Now, what made the first film so impactful is the fact that it managed to tell an exciting, thrilling zombie movie while also having a compelling story and well-written characters. While I'm always down for mindless entries in genre films, and there are plenty of those that I really do enjoy, you're never going to top a film that manages to hit all the right notes emotionally. And this film manages to capture that balance of thrills and emotion as well. Maybe not quite as good as in Train to Busan, but still done very well. I wouldn't call our main three characters quite as compelling as the many characters we saw in the first film, with some of them, as well as the supporting characters, having an unlikable edge to them, but I still thought the interactions among all of them were great, with Hae-soon being by far the most sympathetic here, as we do learn there are issues with both her boyfriend and father that leads to some nice tension among them, in addition to having to deal with the zombies. The film also manages to inject some social commentary in there, similar to the first film, and it's mainly seen in the first act. We see an older homeless man, clearly infected and not looking so great, and at first, it's obviously not known he's going to turn to a zombie by the other characters, so another homeless man tries to get the attention of other people in order to save him. But his pleas get ignored, the man succumbs to his injuries, bites the other man, and that kicks off the main events. And while we know there was nothing that could have been done to save this first man, it still does say something when it comes to human nature and the unfortunate way in which some people tend to view others who are less fortunate than themselves. And the film circles back around to these themes at various points and expands upon them, specifically the way in which an older man who Hae-soon is briefly paired up with is treated when it's realized that no one's really handling this outbreak in the correct way, and how he tries to bring attention to the fact that things are being made worse. And the way he's shut down also plays into those themes of exploring human nature's more selfish qualities, and because the film plays heavily into those themes, it can be seen as the most cynical entry in all of the Train to Busan films. While things aren't exactly going great for the characters in any of these three films, this is probably the darkest of them all, between the way in which we see people take an every man for himself approach, as well as when we learn more about the backstories of all three of our main characters. And going with that darker feel, while I wouldn't call the film slow or boring by any means, it does move at a slightly slower pace than the other films, like a hair slower. The film doesn't go on pointless tangents or anything, but it does take in a few extra seconds here and there for the audience to just take in the atmosphere. There are moments that are quiet, with no score accompanying it, and while there's still a sense of urgency because of the zombie outbreak, there are times it might not feel chaotic or frantic the way other zombie films typically are. Despite being an animated film, it's also still very grounded in reality, and you can even see that in the designs of the characters themselves. No one has these exaggerated facial expressions or has unrealistic looking features. You could have easily told this story as a live action film, and it would have translated well. Though the film still takes advantage of the fact that it's animated, more through the background images. We get some stylized shots, some of which are beautiful as we get views of the city itself, while some are haunting, like whenever we see the zombies attacking. And of course, as grounded as the film is, and as atmospheric as it may be, it doesn't hold back on some solid zombie thrills. While it might not be the same as seeing these zombies in live action, these zombies are still pretty unsettling to watch, and while this moves around throughout a city as opposed to taking place mostly on a train, there's still this sense of claustrophobia present throughout the film, as we'll get several moments where the zombies close in on our main characters. There's especially a moment early on where they have everyone trapped in a police station that I thought was really well done, with some of the main characters backed into a jail cell with the zombies trying to break into the cell, while the humans realize that one person with them might also be infected. It was probably my favorite scene in the film for just how effective they pulled off the suspense here, and it goes to show how great Yan Sang-ho is at creating a balance in his films, with a nice mix of emotional character drama, as well as giving us thrilling moments that get us on the edge of our seats. Seoul Station isn't quite on the same level as Train to Busan, but it's still a really well-made film. It's probably the darkest, most cynical entry in all of these films, but it still hits some really compelling themes, exploring the most selfish side of human nature and how it affects others in the worst sort of circumstances. It's more moody and atmospheric this time around, but it also doesn't lose sight of what made the first film work, which was a mix of zombie thrills along with a solid story and intriguing characters, and for that, it's certainly worth the watch. Seoul Station gets an 8 out of 10. So stay tuned, I'll have a ranking video out shortly of all 3 Train to Busan films, but in the meantime, let me know, have you seen Seoul Station or are you planning to see it, and what were your thoughts? Did you enjoy all the Train to Busan films? Do you have a favorite zombie movie in general? Let me know in the comments below so we can discuss. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please like it and share it, and for more movie reviews and film discussion, please make sure to hit that subscribe button to stay updated. Thanks for watching everyone, and keep having fun with film.